Well, hello everyone. As another footballing weekend approaches, let's take a look at this week's Championship fixtures. Another breathtaking set of fixtures on Monday. We must just pay reference to the Ipswich and Southampton match. What a wonderful advert for the Championship that was. We predicted goals, and goals we got. We had five more, I guess. And an amazing finish again. Ipswich never giving up. 2-1 down, coming back, and really showing their qualities now at the right time of the season. And they sit proudly at top of the table, albeit by 1 point from Leeds and 2 from Leicester, who, as we'll chat about shortly, pulled their slump around a little bit, and they still have a game in hand. So it's all to play for at the top, and it's starting to stretch out a little bit in the relegation areas now. A bit of breathing space for some teams, which we'll touch on. And there were certainly some key results across the division on Monday, as there always is in this league. It's just one of the hardest ones to predict what's going to happen, really. However, here we go then. We've got a full set of fixtures across Friday and Saturday. There's one game on Friday this weekend, and that is Rotherham United versus Plymouth Argyle. In front of the TV cameras, I'm assuming, because it's Friday night. So Plymouth have sacked their manager since the weekend after their home defeat by Bristol City. That was their 5th home defeat on the trot, and their 5th home defeat without scoring a goal. So the time was unfortunately up for Ian Foster, who was relieved of his duties. So Plymouth have got a couple of guys in charge from the backroom staff, I think, until the end of the season. There'll be 6 vital games. Is it 6? Yes, 6 vital games for Plymouth. And so they go to Rotherham, who pulled off a good win against Millwall, sort of against the odds, because Rotherham had no form at all, as we know. But it's just nice that they can still dig in and give their fans something to cheer. I think on Friday, Plymouth will they have to steel themselves pretty soon, because they are the one team that is the most vulnerable at the moment, I think, down there, of the teams that probably haven't really been under the line in the relegation zone, hardly at all, but they're just above it now. 4 losses in 5, as we say, those 5 home defeats. So I think they'll go there and get a point, actually. I think Rotherham will give another good account of themselves, follow up on what they did on Monday. So I'm going to go Rotherham 1, Plymouth 1 in that one. That takes us on to Saturday, and first up, another humdinger of a game potentially. It's the derby match between Norwich City and Ipswich Town. Another one not for the faint-hearted, this one. Ipswich, of course, absolutely flying at the moment. Yes, they're conceding goals, but they're scoring them as well, and they're doing their stuff. 4 wins in 5. And they know they can't afford to slip up with Leeds and Leicester breathing down their necks very hard indeed. So this will be another TV game on Saturday lunchtime. I think there'll be goals again, but I think Norwich will hold them. I think it's going to be Norwich City 2, Ipswich Town 2. Norwich will be disappointed with their 3-1 defeat at Leicester, having taken the lead as well. But Leicester came back well. As I said, they have quality. They just haven't quite been clicking in over the last month or so. But I think there'll be goals. I'm going Norwich City 2, Ipswich Town 2. And that takes us on to the 3 o'clocks on Saturday. And we've got, first up, Blackburn Rovers against Southampton. And Blackburn had an eye-opening win. Any win at all for them is eye-opening at the moment. They've been having such a poor time. But they came through at Sunderland, winning 5-1, throwing Sunderland back into one of their another little bit of a crisis, having Sunderland just starting to pick up a couple of results lately. So Blackburn, that was, you had to blink and say 5-1 away. But good for them, and that's given them a bit of breathing space. 45 points now, 5 points clear of the third bottom side. Southampton, as we know, involved in that absolutely wonderful game to watch on Monday evening or Monday tea time. Very unlucky, I thought, to lose the match. Very unlucky to have a player sent off. There was cover, I think. I don't know if anyone saw it, but there was definitely cover, I thought. It's 50-50. You could argue both ways when that player got sent off. But they carried on going, and they're talking. As I say, I live in the area for their news, and they're talking it up still. If they're looking, they know they've got to win all 8 games. That'll take them to 80. What will that take them to? 24, 98 points. And they still don't think that may be enough. Such is the competition this year at the top of the Championship. So I think Southampton will go there and get the points. I'm going to go Blackburn 1, Southampton 3 in that one. Next in the 3 o'clocks we have Cardiff and Hull. Cardiff City versus Hull City. Cardiff, they had an excellent win at Coventry. Coventry will be frustrated by that, but we'll talk about them in a moment. Yes, so Cardiff had a good away win. After a couple of defeats they've now had, they picked up that 3 points. And Hull gave Leeds a decent match in the evening game, but Leeds, being Leeds at the moment, just come out on top when needed. They seem to just find the way to win in most games at the moment. I know they dropped a couple of points the other day, but at Watford. But they're just churning out the results, keeping the pressure on both Leicester and Ipswich. They're still just my tip to win the Championship, but only because of their just absolute consistency. But Ipswich and Leicester will have a lot to say about that. So I think Cardiff and Hull. What are we going to do there? I think Hull seem to have just lost their way now a little bit. No wins in 5, 6 points behind the playoffs. They're essentially, there's too many teams involved for them to have a real say in the playoffs now. And they've still got a game in hand. But I think, as I said, on Monday, their form isn't suggesting they're going to make a move. So I'm going to say Cardiff to narrowly win this one. Cardiff City 2, Hull City 1. And that brings us to Coventry City versus Leeds United. Now, as I say, Coventry will be very frustrated at their home defeat to mid-table Cardiff. The chance was there. That was their I think that was their moment to move. They're still 4 points behind now. Norwich lost, as we know, to Leicester. So Coventry would have been within a point and a game in hand, really just poised to make their move. But they slipped up at home. Perhaps the FA Cup date is looming a bit now in their minds. It's a great honour for them to be representing the Championship in the last 4 of the FA Cup with the elite teams that are left in as well. So perhaps all that's getting to them a little bit subconsciously. I'm sure it's not if you ask their manager. But anyway, they come up against Leeds, so they know they can't be below par against Leeds at all, so they will get put away quite easily. However, I still think Leeds will go there and chalk up another win. They're just relentless at the moment, by and large. They're finding ways to win since Christmas. Their form has been outstanding. So I'm going to say another good win for Leeds here. Coventry City 1, Leeds United 3. Then we go down to the bottom of the table, and Huddersfield, who desperately need to get a win soon. They haven't had a win in 5 now. And they're still just below the line, but they are still in touch. They will think what they not think. They are still in touch. And Millwall will be one of the teams they still have in their sights, 4 points behind them. And Millwall's sort of surprise defeat, as I say, at Rotherham at the weekend on Monday. I had them down to win, as you may recall, and I thought just Millwall were showing signs of, well, they are showing signs of being a bit more resilient these days. But 2 losses in 3 just starts the alarm bells ringing a little bit. And if Huddersfield can put that pressure on, they'll close to a point within Millwall and bring them right back into the relegation mix completely. And I'm just going to edge that they will do that. I'm going to say Huddersfield will follow up their good 1-1 draw at Stoke, and it'll be a tight, scruffy game, I think. Both sides really under pressure in this one. But I think Huddersfield may just take it, and I'm going to go Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0. Then we have Leicester City and Birmingham City. Leicester got back to winning ways, even though going a goal down. I'm sure that sent a ripple of nerves through their fan base when they went 1-0 down to Norwich. Norwich being a good footballing side would have fancied themselves. But they came back well, showed some mettle, and got themselves right back in the automatic promotion picture. Still a game in hand. It's still in their hands. If they win all their games, they will go up automatically as champions. So once you haven't got to rely on anybody else, you always have a chance. But to win 7 games on the bounce in this league is a tough, hard ask, especially this time of the season. Then we've got Birmingham City, who pulled off a really vital 1-0 win against Preston. That came out of the blue a little bit, having a run of 4 losses. So they pulled that off, kept a clean sheet, which they'll be absolutely delighted about. However, I think Leicester will just edge them out in this one. I think Leicester will follow up the win on Monday with another one at home to Birmingham on Saturday, and I'm going to go Leicester City 2, Birmingham City 1 in that one. Next we have Middlesbrough and Swansea, largely a mid-table game, but I think Middlesbrough may just have mathematical hopes of the playoff place. 6 points behind, 6 games to play. They're having a little bit of a decent pick-up in form. 3 wins and 2 draws in their last 5. A good win against Sheffield Wednesday on Monday, and they're playing at home to Swansea City, as I say. Swansea lost to QPR. I think Swansea, just as I say, ticking the boxes now. 47 points, mid-table, thinking about next season, I guess. So it's, I think Middlesbrough will just, for the fact they're being at home, and they just probably see their playoff as a distant hope still. So I'm going to go Middlesbrough 2, Swansea City 0 in that one. And then we have Queen's Park Rangers against Sheffield Wednesday. Queen's Park Rangers have had a couple of good wins over the Easter period, so that really has boosted them. 46 points now, looking a lot healthier, 6 points clear. And Sheffield Wednesday just picked up the 1 point over Easter, so they're on 39 and second bottom, and their time is running out fast, which is a real shame for them, having had that dramatic playoff win last year, if you remember. Was it from 4-0 down, I think, in the semi-final? Incredible stuff. They may well salvage it, who knows, but it's not looking too good for them at the moment. 3 defeats in 4. I think QPR will pull it out again. I think they'll pull off the 3rd win, which will almost guarantee them safety and the Championship football next year, I guess. So I'm going to go Queen's Park Rangers 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Then we have Stoke and West Bromwich Albion. And Stoke due with Huddersfield at the weekend or on Monday. West Brom came back 2-0 down to Watford at home, which surprised me, and then they came back as they do, so they still managed to scrape a draw out of it, but they'll want to win. There were 3 draws in 5, so they'll and 2 wins for the other 2 games, but they'll want to win. But I think Stoke are just showing signs now, more resilience, and they still need points, so they won't be pushovers by any means. So I'm going to take a draw here and go Stoke City 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. 2 to go then, and the next one down is on the list is Sunderland against Bristol City. Bristol City having a hard-fought 1-0 win down at Plymouth, which, as we know, resulted in the Plymouth manager losing his job, unfortunately. And Sunderland, having had a couple of decent results, suddenly completely backfired. I don't know whether they took Blackburn too lightly or what happened there, I don't know. But to lose 5-1 at home against anybody is not good news, and not in front of a packed Sunderland fan base. So they'll want to get that balance back, get the fans back on side pretty quickly up there. Totally mid-table match this, 12th against 13th, nothing much to shout about in the honours list other than their own pride. So I think that will be reflected in the score. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. So I'm going to go Sunderland 1, Bristol City 1. And last but as always not least, we've got Watford against Preston North End. Preston had that disappointing, for them anyway, disappointing defeat at Birmingham. Again, that was their chance to close the gap on Norwich as well. and they slipped up. So Norwich had, although they lost to Leicester, they had a sort of they didn't lose any ground, which they'll be very pleased about. But Preston will be disappointed about that. They're 5 points behind, still a game in hands, there's still a chance, and they've got no other deflections, of course. They can just concentrate on these matches. Watford are showing a little bit of form after a dull period for them, wasn't it? They went a lot of games without winning, and it was all a bit, all a bit slow for them. But now they've had a couple of decent results. Got a 2-2 draw at Leeds recently. They were 2-0 up at West Brom, which is no mean feat, but they couldn't quite hang on, and 2-2 as we know. So I think that we'll have Watford and taking this one. I think Watford will just continue their recent upsurge in a little bit of form, and it'll be Watford 2, Preston North End 1. So there we have it for another week. I hope you all have enjoying your week this week, and look forward to the footballing weekend. There are midweek games next week in the Championship. It's a bit relentless at the moment up to the end of the season, so we'll have a look and digest what happens on Friday and Saturday, and then we'll have a review and a preview sometime next week. Enjoy your weekends. Thank you.